friends, and welcome to today's topic on Trenton Talks. I'm Jacque Howard, your host, and also the host of the Trenton 365 show, heard right here at WIMG on Monday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. In the studio with me, I have Don Addison and Debbie Schaeffer, representing Mrs. G. Furniture, appliances, mattresses, and a little bit more. I think I threw something else in there, but Debbie, ladies first, welcome to the program.
Oh, Jacque, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And Don?
Yeah, thank you, Jacque. It's a great opportunity.
Excellent, folks. So this is going to move quickly, but we want to make sure that we get as much information out as possible. Debbie, I want you to talk about the history of Mrs. G's Appliances, where you started, where you are, and what the good news is right now.
Yeah, so I'm actually the third generation owner. I'm Mrs. G's granddaughter. It started in 1935. My grandmother, Beatrice Greenberg, and Abe Greenberg started the business together. It started with plumbing supplies on Broad Street in Trenton. And the business grew and grew out of the Depression after the war. The soldiers came back, and as they were growing and adding from the plumbing accessories, they were adding appliances as well. And it grew so much that they needed bigger space, and then they moved to Ewing on Olden Avenue on the corner of Parkside and built a beautiful store sometime in the late 50s, early 60s. And the store actually didn't last too long. It was the state-of-the-art store, but there was a gas explosion, took the store down to absolutely nothing. But within a couple of weeks, my grandmother and grandfather picked up the pieces and moved actually into their warehouse until they found a location in Lawrenceville. And they were in Lawrenceville for 40 years, from the early 70s until just recently. And we moved a half a mile south from the old location. Everybody thought that was the original location, like we were there forever. But this is actually our fourth move since 1935. And next to Worldwide Flooring, on the corner of Darrah Lane and Route 1, and in Lawrence. And we sell appliances. That has always been our main focus. Also televisions. But we did venture into bedding and also doing a lot of more outdoor kitchens with grills, and some really interesting accessories. We just brought in the Gladiator garage accessories with a work table and workbench and all these fun things for someone who likes to do it yourself. So fun things like that. Call it lifestyle.
So Mrs. G has been a staple since 1935 in Mercer County and beyond, for the most part. And I still remember, I grew up in Ewing Township, as most people know, and right around the corner from where I grew up on Eggers Crossing Road, I remember always seeing your warehouse with the Mrs. G sign back there, and you folks still have that property as well.
Yes,
awesome.
We do. Yeah.
So, Don, I'm going to swing it over to you,
Sure.
because you've been in this community for quite some time as well. You are an artist, what a lot of people don't probably know, but you're also an ambassador / liaison for lots of organizations, and with Mrs. G is one of them, correct?
Actually, photographer.
But that's art.
But it is art. And that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how I got started, by being an exhibit artist, photographer. Until someone asked me, how much would you charge me to photograph a 50th anniversary? And I came up with a number real quick, and that got that rolling. So it's been great. It's been very successful.
And I would assume that 50th anniversary has to do with Mrs. G.
No, it was a little bit before that.
Okay. Well, so Don, you and I have chatted on several occasions,
Yes.
and you're always, for the most part, at Mrs. G as well,
Yeah.
helping out, greeting customers and doing some different things there as well. And Mrs. G has always worked in conjunction well with the community, always doing different things with community outreach, making sure that the prices are fair for a large group of people. Can either one of you touch base on that?
Yeah, well, it's all about the community, and my grandmother, as well, she was the foundation of the business, and that's why they changed the name originally, New Jersey Plumbing and Appliance, and then to Mrs. G's, because everybody knew her and connected to her. She was very kind to everyone, and always helped a lot of people, and she always gave back to the community, and made fun events at the store. With the grand opening of her store in Lawrence back in 1972, she had the mummers there. And, so she always liked to be a part of the community. It's not all about business. It's not, it's also, having that engagement, going back and helping as well. And so I always felt that was important. And when I took over the business, I just took it a little step further, where I brought a lot of different communities, organizations, chambers, and brought them into the store by offering some cooking events, and just making the connection with Mrs. G's back into the community, and making it fun for me, and also giving back.
Well, fantastic on that. Okay, so just recently, I was fortunate enough to be at Mrs. G's for the unveiling of the Green Egg Grill, which was absolutely awesome, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I want you to talk more about the outreach that Mrs. G is doing in the community with cooking classes and your executive chef on staff.
Yeah, so, our executive chef, Mary Beth Medill, actually was working for Susan G. Komen, Central New Jersey, and the Susan G. Komen wanted to do an event for their core donors, a cooking class, because we have live equipment in the store. And they knew Mary Beth, who has done quite a bit of events for Susan G. Komen, and the event went so well, and I loved the way that she presented the food and engaged with the people that were there, that I approached her and said, I'd love for her to be a part of my team, and to do stuff with Susan G. Komen. So the next time I had a big event for Susan G. Komen with cooking classes, I've had, like I said, chamber events. We've done for United Way. We had, which you can go online to our YouTube channel and see different chefs from well-known restaurants like R.E.A.C.H. And Salt Creek Grill came in and had a chef cook-off. And so those kind of things, raising awareness, raising money, but most important is raising awareness, because I love PR. Don knows that. Yes. I love being in the newspaper.
Nice throwing a party.
So that to me is, the money's great, to raise money for these organizations, but just getting the awareness and letting know to the community that there are these people, these organizations that are in town, and we're all working together. To help them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can you actually share the contact information for Mrs. G?
Yeah, so you can certainly find us online by going to mrsgs.com. That's mrsgs.com. You can call us at 609-882-1444. But we would love you to be part of our community and our family, and you can connect with us on Facebook. Of course, Twitter, Google+, where, we know that social media is very important. And you will see a lot of these great things that we do with the community on these sites, and really feel like you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Now, Debbie, you talked about the different moves that have been taking place, and that you're in a new location next to Worldwide Flooring. We've got just a couple of minutes before we're up on a break. I'd like you to actually talk about what people can expect when the new location that you're in now, when it's completely finished.
Yeah, so the new showroom is going to be extremely well organized. And so, because as we were in the other showroom, over the years we kept adding on and finding space and adding on. So here it's going to feel very open. As you walk in, you're going to see my desk is right in front, just like my grandmother. When you walked into the store, and my grandmother always sat up front, always wanted to say hello first. Same thing is going to happen with this new showroom. But we're going to have a beautiful Jen Air live demonstration kitchen, and that's going to be Chef Mary Beth's hub, and and she actually has her own blog, appliancechef.com. And then you're going to see all the other vignettes for the higher end, the Thermidors, the Milas, the Sub-Zero Wolf Living Kitchen. But right in front is all going to be our core products, all the washers and dryers and refrigerators and ranges, everything that we sell for all budgets.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, folks, you're listening to Trenton Talks in the Public Interest. I'm Jacque Howard, your host, and I'm speaking with Don Addison and Debbie Schaeffer of Mrs. G. We'll be back after a very short break.
All coughs aren't the same, and neither are all cough medicines. Robitussin's powerful dual-action formula relieves even the toughest coughs. Wet, dry, and hacking. Fast, powerful Robitussin DM Max fights your cough and helps clear the congestion that comes with it. Robitussin, don't suffer the consequences. Use as directed. This week, stock up with special Robitussin bonus packs. Available at Walmart for a low price every day.
Disney on Ice presents Princesses and Heroes, presented by Yo Kids Organic Yogurt. Take a voyage with Ariel and Eric. Be a guest of Beauty and the Beast. Let your hair down with Rapunzel and Flynn. Then join Anna, Elsa, Olaf, Kristoff, and Sven from Disney's Frozen, live in your hometown.
You're invited to save 50% on weekday tickets to Disney on Ice with the purchase of any participating Stonyfield Yo Kids Organic Yogurt. Available at your local ShopRite today. Playing January 28th through February 1st at Sun National Bank Center.
And welcome back to Trenton Talks in the Public Interest. I'm Jacque Howard, your host, and you're listening to us over WIMG 1300 and on television, WPHY, Channel 25, Mercer County, New Jersey. WIMG is the oldest radio station in the state of New Jersey, and the 2014 Stellar Awards winner, and 2015 we've been nominated as well. So lots of good things. Here with me is Debbie Schaeffer and Don Addison of Mrs. G's. I'm talking about the history of the organization and the brand, etc. And we're going to be transitioning this more to what's going on currently, and then we're going to touch base with some really cool information about the competitiveness, etc. But Don, why don't you share the contact information for Mrs. G?
We are from our previous location, about 1 mile south on Business Route 1 and Dara Lane, across from CVS, Mercer County Library, and Route 1 Dodge. Right there, where all the good traffic flows. We are at the U-turn. So instead of making that full turn, just turn into our driveway.
Fantastic. Awesome.
And come and look at our products.
Awesome. Now, Debbie, during the break, we were chatting about a couple of different things, but I want you to share about the brands that Mrs. G currently has. I mean, because, when you watch on television, you see a bunch of different commercials, and then the different big box stores have their brands that they focus on. How does that all work, and what brands does Mrs. G carry?
Yeah. So we have brands that we all know and love: General Electric, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, Genair, KitchenAid. Those are what we all call core brands. And then we have what I call designer line of appliances, and that would be Thermidor, Miele, Sub-Zero, Wolf. And we have those as well. And we also have brands, I've been talking about more of the core, like the American brands, but we also have LG and Samsung, which are very popular today. And many people ask us all the time, like, how do you compete with the big box stores? Because I'm actually a half a mile south, or about a mile south, of 6 other appliance dealers on Route 1. Mm-hmm. And everybody asks us, how do you compete? How come you're always better priced than the big box stores? And that's because Mrs. G's is a member of one of the largest buying groups in the country. It's actually $14 billion in buying power. This is a cooperative organization of 3,000 independents from all over the country that band together, and we buy General Electric, and we buy Whirlpool, and we buy Frigidaire together. And in the Northeast, We have special warehouses that we all feed into, and our warehouse with this buying group is actually in Plainsboro. So it's 20 minutes from the store, and we get deliveries every single day from the buying group, and we're able to not only compete on price, but we're able to deliver it as quickly as the big box stores. And you get all our knowledgeable sales staff that they don't have. You get all the great customer service that they don't have, especially after the sale. And that's how we do it.
Well, that is fantastic. And that's information, and again, that you guys have been around for over 75 years. This is information that needs to go out because, again, if we're always talking about the community and community awareness and community engagement and so forth, and this is actually doing that because you're creating an economic impact right here in the community where your store is located, correct?
Absolutely. And how that economic impact works is that I'm a customer too. Mrs. G's is a customer. I'm a customer. How? Because we hire local lawyers, local accountants. I get all my printing local. I even buy our food from the local McCaffrey's, Pennington markets. You know, these are businesses that have been around. I don't go to the big box stores unless I have to, and if I can't, I always think local first, because by doing that, I'm creating my own, economy of local economies, and keeping the money local. And that's why it's so very important to think local first and support local independent businesses like Mrs. G's, because we employ more people, per revenue, and we support the economy and giving back to the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, before the break, you spoke a little bit about what to expect. Like you kind of gave a vision of what the new showroom is going to look like when that's completed. For the folks who are just tuning in now, I want you to just give a big overall view of what they can expect from the new completed showroom.
Yeah, so you're going to walk in. It's going to be very open, very spacious, not cluttered, and it's going to have as you walk in, you're going to see, if you've been to the other stores, you always saw my grandmother sitting right there as you walked in. You're also going to see me. My desk is going to be right up front to greet you. And you're going to be able to see all your core products, the best value in the budget for the customer, with a very good selection of a variety of brands. So you'll see the washers and dryers and refrigerators, ranges, etc., dishwashers. And then around the peripheral of the store, you'll see vignettes. We're going to have a Jen Eyre live cooking vignette with our chef. That will be her hub to offer cooking classes. And then it goes on to Thermidor and Mila vignettes, a big Sub-Zero Wolf living kitchen. There's going to be 88 pieces of Sub-Zero Wolf, probably one of the largest ones in New Jersey. And you go around, you see monogrammed General Electric vignettes, you'll see Samsung vignettes, everything around the perimeter are going to be, so people, if they need a 4-piece package, they're going to be able to see the 4-piece packages all set up in little kitchen vignettes. It's going to be very, very nice and very bright, with good music, always smelling cookies or whatever she's cooking. We offer coffee all the time, and I want people to feel that they can come in the store even if they're not buying appliances and just feel comfortable and be part of our be part of the team.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to say something about that. I was actually in Mrs. G earlier today. I wanted to stop in. I was in the neighborhood and figured I'd pop in. And folks, I went in. I was greeted immediately by some smiling faces. Said, "Hey, I'm here to see Debbie." I said, "Well, Debbie's in the middle of something. Can I help you out with something?" And immediately I said, "No, I'm just going to take a look around," and I was allowed to go on my merry way and get a chance to see all the different appliances that were there. I didn't look at any of the bedding or the televisions. And then, I was greeted again very nicely by another salesperson who wasn't overly aggressive, wasn't asking me, "Hey, you want to buy something?" No, it was like, "Hey, how are you today? Hope you're enjoying something. If you'd like something, there's water, there's coffee, there's tea." One of us is always willing to help you, and that makes a big difference because no one knew who I was going in there. And it could have been, one of those aggressive, tender situations where you're like, you know what, I don't need this. I just wanted to pop in and see what's going on. So your staff did a wonderful job of handling that to make sure that you let them know that as well. Now, square footage, the size of the new completed showroom. Can you throw a figure out there and then something that people will be able to compare that to?
Okay. Well, it's the showroom is going to be about 12,000 square feet, and our new warehouse is going to be right behind the new showroom, and that's where we're working out of now. So together there'll be about 25,000 square feet in this new space. It's a little smaller. A little bit smaller, not too much smaller than our older store. However, much more efficient in layout. So you're going to see the same amount of product, but it's just going to be laid out so much nicer. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. And I always like to have people get an idea for size, square footage, because a lot of times when we hear like different figures, if we can compare that to something, then we can kind of get that warm feeling of what it is. And 12,000 square feet is more than ample enough if it's laid out properly in the way you've designed it and the way you've spoken about it. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful opportunity. Excellent. Now, I want you to share the contact information once again because, again, it's very important for people to not assume they know where Mrs. G is, and I want them to know exactly where it is because there's going to be some traffic adjustments in the area for people so that they don't get mixed up and get turned around and become frustrated and don't make it way to the proper location.
Right. So, again, we are in Lawrence Township. We're half a mile from our old location, and if you hadn't been there, we're in Lawrence Township, right on the corner of Darrell Lane and Route 1. Right across from the Lawrence Library, the CVS. You can find us online at mrsgs.com. That's mrsgs.com. But you can just Google. If you just Google Mrs. G, Mrs. G's, Mrs. G TV, Mrs. G Appliances, you will find us. And so that you can go right to our contact information there. You can go to Google Maps and put our name in. You'll find us, and it'll take you right to our shop. And you can call us at 609-882-1444.
And for the folks who do make a purchase, including with the big boxes, you offer the same exact types of services: deliveries, removal, etc. Can you explain that?
Oh, absolutely. So we have 4 trucks. We deliver on our own trucks, and we also have 4 installers, so that if you need a dishwasher installed or a wall oven installed or a hood installed, we have installers that we coordinate for you, and so it's a one-stop shop. We coordinate a service. If you, for whatever reason, if you needed a service call on the equipment that you purchase from us, we will coordinate that for you from authorized servicers in your area. It's very important that we take care of the customer after the sale. And that doesn't mean 6 months after the sale. You could call me 5 years from now. And if you had an issue from a product that you purchased from Mrs. G's, we will help you get service.
Fantastic.
Get solution. Yep.
And I think the best way to describe and what you experienced with when you dropped in was an experience. And Debbie's trying to create an experience. So when you stop into Mrs. G's now or in the future, we expect our customer to have a shopping experience, which will cause them to go back and tell their friends about what their experience, and it'll cause them to come back again and shop with us.
Fantastic. Don Addison and Debbie Schaeffer from Mrs. G, Appliances and more. We'll say that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on to Trenton Talks in the public interest. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Folks, you've been listening to WIMG 1300 and watching over WPHY Channel 25 in Mercer County. I'm Jacque Howard, your host. And folks, this is quite simply what we're trying to do with community outreach and community engagement. shop small, buy local, etc. All those different things. They really do make a difference. And Mrs. G is a shining example of that. Over 80 years of experience in Trenton, Ewing, and Lawrence Township, looking to make some major changes and do different things with the marketplace. Give a chance. Check them out on the website. We'll see you next time.
Today's topic on Trenton Talks is a program